Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Vaishnav Thakur Dayar Sagar Dase Karuna Kori Ohe Vaishnav Thakur Dayar Sagar Dase Karuna Kori Diya pada chaya sodoe amaya Diya pada chaya sodoe amaya Tomara charana dori Oe Vaishnava Thakur Dayaro Sagar Edase Karuna Kori Chaya Vegadomi, Chaya Dosodhi, Chaya Vegadomi, Chaya Dosodhi, Chaya Guna Deho Dase, Chaya Guna Deho Dase, Chaya Satta Sangha, Deo e Amare, Chaya Satta Sangha, Deo e Amare, Bositi Sangira Ase, Bositi Sangira Ase, Ekaki Amar, Nai Para Bal, Ekaki Amar, Nai Para Bal, Harinama Sankirtane, Harinama Sankirtane. Tomi Kirpa Kori, Sada Bindu Diya, Tomi Kirpa Kori, Sada Bindu Diya, Deho Krishna Namadhane, Deho Krishna Namadhane, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna se tomar, Krishna dite paro, Krishna se tomar, Krishna dite paro, tomar sakti ache, tomar sakti ache. Ami to kangal, Krishna Krishna boli, Ami to kangal, Krishna Krishna boli, Dhai tav pache pache, Dhai tav pache pache. Ohe Vaishnava Thakur, Daya ro sagar, Veda se karuna kori, Veda se karuna kori. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. Okay. Hare Ramo, Ramo Ramo, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare.
Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Gopal Krishna Maharaja ki Jai. Gaura Premanande Haribol. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutali Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Nityana. What is it? What's that? Oh, okay. Is this for the temple? Thank you. There, you put it in. Thank you very much. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutali Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Nityamani. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gurvani Pacharine Nirvisesa Sunyavadi Paskati. Okay, put it in. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Dvaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaur Bhaktavinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare. Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Nityamani. Namaste Saraswati Devi Guruvani Pacharine Nirvisesa Sunyavari Pastkatya Desatarine. So today we are celebrating the Vyasa Puja ceremony for Gopal Krishna Maharaj, who is a dear friend and a great devotee of Srila Prabhupada, and who's done wonderful things on behalf of Srila Prabhupada. His most recent wonderful achievement was having a commemorative coin of I think it's 125 rupees. Yeah. So it's a special edition. It's something rare. If you can get one, you're very fortunate. But it glorifies Srila Prabhupada, and of course, Prime Minister Modi gave a wonderful speech glorifying Prabhupada. All that is due to the hard work and sincere service that Gopal Krishna Maharaj and all his devotees have been doing in India and around the world. And it's because of their sincere following of Prabhupada and the achievements that Srila Prabhupada did that are unparalleled in modern history, that Mr. Modi glorified him and recognized him internationally. So that is a great achievement, besides many other great achievements that Gopal Krishna Maharaj has done, such as opening up so many temples in India, in Delhi and Mumbai and around in Gujarat and in other areas, Haryana and Punjab, yes. So those are great achievements. And then initiating so many devotees, I think over 4,000 or 5,000 devotees, maybe more. And also being the manager of the Bhaktivedanta book trust, and printing so many hundreds and thousands and millions of books in different languages, at least 30, 40, 50 languages, and also helping to manage major projects like Mumbai and Mayapur, also opening temples in Africa, Nairobi, and other major cities in Kenya. So he's done amazing things because of his complete dedication to serving Srila Prabhupada. Sincerely, he's given his whole life and energy, everything, to glorify Prabhupada by spreading this Krishna consciousness all over the world. And today we want to honor him in our humble way because he's very dear to Prabhupada. That means he's very dear to Krishna and to all devotees who look up to him for his unfailing dedication to serving Prabhupada with all his energy, his intelligence. And that's an example that we should all follow. You don't become a person like Gopal Krishna Maharaj by not preaching. His whole life is based on preaching and sacrifice. He's sacrificing his own personal comfort and going out and not only in Africa and India, but also Russia. He's also made many devotees in Russia, or initiated many devotees there, and he goes there regularly. So if you just sit at home when you're and sleep comfortably in your bed, and don't really try to do any preaching, you're not following your guru. Your guru is someone who's dynamic, and he's not a young man, but he's as dynamic, if not more, than a young man. So preaching is the essence. Books are the basis. Purity is the force, and utility is the principle. So this is something that Gopal Krishna Maharaj has understood, and that's why his everyday is based on preaching, and he travels around the world to try and inspire people to become preachers of Krishna consciousness, not sleepers, not stay-at-homers, but preachers. Preaching means you have to go out. You have to meet people. You have to talk to them. You have to give them prasadam. You have to invite them to the temple. You have to know something about Bhagavad Gita to be able to convince people. And you have to be living very strictly with no nonsense in your life in order to be able to have the force or the Shakti to preach. And it's given to us by Krishna, who's in the heart as Paramatma. Sarva Shichaham Hidi Sanivisto Matak Smitir Gyanam Apahanamcha Vedaishcha Sarviraham Eva Vedyo Vedanta Vedakrit Eva Chaham. So this verse, a very important 15th chapter, 15th verse, and it says that Krishna says, I am seated in everyone's heart, and from me come remembrance, knowledge, and forgetfulness. By all the Vedas, I am to be known. Indeed, I am the compiler of Vedanta, and I am the knower of the Vedas. So, that means that he gives us knowledge and remembrance. If we're strictly following, we don't get that knowledge and that remembrance by sleeping or by staying in a very limited comfort zone and not taking any extra effort to preach and distribute Prabhupada's books. But more important than distributing the books is developing personal relationships with other persons, not based on simply, hello, goodbye, how are you, how's the family, oh, I'm very happy you're going on a vacation, blah, blah, blah. That's not called preaching. Preaching means being able to explain to people the seriousness of material existence and how the real purpose of life is self-realization, and how one has to hear on a regular basis Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam. So those devotees who are successful are always inviting people to come and hear Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam, or going to their place, and so they can hear Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam. And whenever there's any program, there has to be also prasadam. So this requires energy. It requires a real commitment to please Guru and Krishna. I mean, Guru is pleased most when one distributes his books and preaches to others and gives them prasadam and brings people to Krishna consciousness. We are not ordinary Hindus. Ordinary Hindus go to the temple, spend a few minutes in the temple, and then leave right away. That's not Krishna consciousness. Krishna consciousness means you go to the temple and you do seva. And the best seva is greeting people and helping them understand Krishna consciousness. So we need to be very serious about preaching. And in order to be an effective preacher, one has to follow strictly the principles of Krishna consciousness. No meat eating, no gambling, no illicit sex, no intoxication. And no nonsense. Wasting time, being more concerned about family affairs than anything else. At the moment of death, your family is not going to save you. Who's going to save you? It's only Krishna, and the service that you've done for Krishna and your Guru. So that's the thing that's going to save you. And if you don't do that thing proactively, then you don't have any hope. Your family is not going to save you, and your friends are not going to save you. Your neighbor is not going to save you. Only Krishna can save you. So you better wake up and start doing things that are pleasing to Krishna. Now, and one can please Krishna in a very humble way, but the best way, as Krishna says in the 18th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, he says, Ya idam paramam guyam mad bhakti sabhidasyati bhaktir mai param kritva mam ivaisasya samsayam. For one who explains this Bhagavad Gita, which Krishna calls the supreme secret, in other words, Raja Guyam, right, to the devotees, pure devotional service is guaranteed, and at the end, he will come back to me. So there you are. 18th chapter, 68th verse. This is Krishna speaking. And then he says, Nacham tasman manusyesu kaschit me priya kritama bhavita nachame tasmad anya priyataro bhuvi. There is no servant in this world more dear to me than he, nor will there ever be one more dear. So here you have in these two verses, 18th chapter, 68th verse, 69th verse. Now we see what pleases Krishna the most is when we go and preach and teach others, preach and teach, and cultivate others to appreciate Krishna consciousness and to engage in devotional service. And that requires energy, that requires Shakti, and you develop that Shakti by regularly hearing and participating in the classes. You don't develop the Shakti by sleeping. You don't develop the Shakti by doing yoga exercises. You don't develop Shakti by going to birthday parties and marriages and things like that. If anything, you lose your Shakti by doing that. You want Shakti, you have to become serious about hearing on a daily basis. Prabhupada said, morning, afternoon, and evening. Morning, afternoon, and evening. We should have 3 classes a day. Well, maybe that's not possible for everyone. Then 2 classes, maybe that's not possible. At least 1 class there has to be, whether it's on Zoom or whether you come to the temple. But you should definitely hear classes spoken by genuine devotees and participate in them by asking questions. That's if you want to be dear to Krishna. If you don't want to be dear to Krishna, then don't do this. Don't do it. Just sleep more and go to birthday parties and marriages and funerals, which is a waste of time, basically, because it's not going to get you anywhere spiritually. People might like you, but Krishna he'll remain neutral. If you want Krishna to be proactively protecting you and your family, then you should be proactively engaged in hearing and chanting, Shravanam, Kirtanam, and then there's Smaranam. You'll be able to remember what you've heard. So this is an example of Gopal Krishna Maharaj's life. He's a preacher. He's energized to help people know who Krishna is and get them engaged in Krishna's service. That should be your main interest in life. So therefore, it says that the Paramatma who's in the heart is the source of all knowledge and remembrance. And if you're not engaged properly, then he gives you forgetfulness. You need to forget Krishna in order to do nonsense. So Krishna helps you forget him. Just like he can help you to have knowledge, he can also help you to forget completely your relationship with Guru and Krishna so you can engage happily in nonsense. So therefore it says the Supreme Lord is situated as Paramatma in everyone's heart. And it is from him that all activities are initiated. The living entity forgets everything of his past life, but he has to act according to the direction of the Supreme Lord, who is witness to all his work. Therefore he begins his work according to his past deeds. Required knowledge is supplied to him, and remembrance is given to him. And he forgets also about his past life. Thus the Lord is not only all-pervading, he is also localized in every individual heart. He awards different fruitive results. He is worshipable not only as the impersonal Brahman, the Supreme Personality Godhead, and the localized Paramatma, but as the form of the incarnation of the Vedas as well. So in other words, Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam are also incarnations of Krishna. Okay. The Vedas give the right direction to people so that they can properly mold their lives and come back to Godhead, back to home. The Vedas offer knowledge of the Supreme Personality Godhead, Krishna, and Krishna in his incarnation as Vyasadeva is the compiler of the Vedanta Sutra. So now, if we understand that Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam are also incarnations of Krishna in this lifetime, then you tell me how many hours a day you are reading and hearing Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam. And I bet you spend more time on the cell phone or on the internet or watching television than the time you spend reading and hearing lectures on Srimad Bhagavatam, because those other things are attractive for us wasting time. But this, sitting down and reading and also listening to classes and asking questions, that is direct association with Krishna. Because what did he just say? He said, the commentation on the Vedanta Sutra by Vyasadeva in the Srimad Bhagavatam gives the real understanding of Vedanta Sutra. The Supreme Lord is so full that for the deliverance of the conditioned soul, he is the supplier and digester of foodstuff, the witness of his activity, and the giver of knowledge in the form of the Vedas, and as the Supreme Personality Godhead, Sri Krishna, the teacher of the Bhagavad Gita. He is worshipable by the conditioned soul. Thus God is all good, God is all merciful. So the Vedas give the right direction to people so that they can properly mold their lives and come back to Godhead, back to home. The Vedas offer knowledge of the Supreme Personality Godhead, Krishna, and Krishna, in his incarnation of Vyasadeva, is the compiler of the Vedanta Sutra. Okay. So, but as the form of the incarnation of the Vedas as well. So Krishna is incarnated, especially in terms of Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam. So we should be spending a lot of time associating with Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam. That should be our main interest in life, especially if one is retired. They should have no other interest. They should be spending a lot of time, most of their time, with Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam, because, as it says here, that the Vedas offer knowledge of the Supreme Personality Godhead, Krishna, and Krishna in his incarnation as Vyasadeva is the compiler of the Vedanta Sutra. And it says, he, Krishna, is worshipable not only as the impersonal Brahman, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and the localized Paramatma, but also as the form of the incarnation of the Vedas as well. So here we have very specialized knowledge that probably will escape most people. But if we want to have a successful life, then we should very carefully listen to this and take it seriously. Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam are the incarnation of the Lord in the Kali Yuga. Then again, and there's a nice verse in the 8th canto, 24th chapter, 5th verse, that says, Shri Sukadeva Vacha Govi Prasura Sadhunam Chandasam Apichesvara Raksham Icham Tanuradate Dharmas Yartasya Chaivahi. This verse says, Shri Sukadeva Goswami said, O king, for the sake of protecting the cows, Brahmanas, demigods, devotees, the Vedic literature, religious principles, and principles to fulfill the purpose of life, the Supreme Personality of Godhead accepts the forms of incarnations. So in other words, Krishna comes, Paritanaya Sadhanam, Vinasaya Chaduskritam, Dharma Samstapanartaya, Sambhavami Yuge Yuge. He comes in different forms as Narashingadev, as Vatsya, as Varaha, as Matsya, the fish, and Kurma, the turtle. He comes in human forms as Krishna or Ramachandra, and he also comes in animal forms. And why does he come? To protect the devotees, annihilate the demons, and reestablish the principles of religion when there's deterioration. So, in the purport, Prabhupada says, the Supreme Personality of Godhead generally appears in various types of incarnations to give protection to the cows and Brahmanas. The Lord is described as Go Brahmana Hitayacha. In other words, he is always eager to benefit the cows and Brahmanas. When Lord Krishna appeared, he purposely became a cowherd boy and showed personally how to give protection to the cows and calves. Similarly, he showed respect to Sudama Vipra, a real Brahmana. From the Lord's personal activities, human society should learn how to give protection specifically to the Brahmanas and cows. Then the protection of religious principles, fulfillment of the aim of life, and protection of Vedic knowledge can be achieved. Without protection of cows, Brahminical culture cannot be maintained, and without Brahminical culture, the aim of life cannot be fulfilled. The Lord, therefore, is described as Go Brahmana Hitaya, because his incarnation is only for the protection of the cows and Brahmanas. Unfortunately, because in Kali Yuga there is no protection of the cows and Brahminical culture, everything is in a precarious position. If human society wants to be exalted, the leaders of society must follow the instructions of Bhagavad Gita and give protection to the cows, the Brahmanas, and the Brahminical culture. Om Namo Brahmanya Devaya Go Brahmana Hitaya Cha Jagatitaya Krishnaya Govindaya Namo Namaha. So that verse says that Krishna gives special protection to the cows, Brahmanas, and to all living entities. And why? Because it says, oh, my Lord, you are the well-wisher of the cows and Brahmanas, and you are the well-wisher of the entire human society and world. So the purport is that special mention is given in this prayer for the protection of the cows and Brahmanas. Brahmanas are the symbol of spiritual education, and cows are the symbol of the most valuable food. These two living creatures, the Brahmanas and the cows, must be given all protection. That is real advancement of civilization. In modern human society, spiritual knowledge is neglected and cow killing is encouraged. It is to be understood then that human society is advancing in the wrong direction and is clearing the path to its own condemnation. A civilization which guides the citizens to become animals in their next lives is certainly not a human civilization. The present human civilization is, of course, grossly misled by the modes of passion and ignorance. It is a dangerous age, and all nations should take care to provide the easiest process, Krishna consciousness, to save humanity from the greatest danger. So, in other words, this is a progressive thing. It says here that without protection of cows, Brahminical culture cannot be maintained. And without Brahminical culture, the aim of life cannot be fulfilled. So that's why we have cows. That's why we have started now a cow sanctuary. We're going to accept cows that are destined to go to a slaughterhouse and save them from being slaughtered and protect them for the rest of their life. That is our duty. And if we do that, then Brahminical culture will evolve. Brahminical culture means samadhamma tapak sucham santirajava evacha jnanam vijnanam sahitam brahmakarma swabhavacham. So the Brahmanas, they are sama, they're equipoised, they don't get upset, they don't become vengeful, they don't retaliate, they're always equipoised. Samadhamma, and they have self-control. They control the mind and the senses and their activities. They control their activities by directing them all to pleasing Krishna. Samadhamma tapa, and they're austere. They don't eat too much, they don't sleep too much, they don't eat too little, they don't sleep too little. They have a very temperate life. Samadhamma tapak socham, and they're very clean. They bathe at least twice a day, if not 3 times a day. They always have clean clothes on and cut fingernails and brush their teeth and all those good things. And samadhamma tapak socham, and they have cleanliness of the mind because they're always keeping the mind focused on serving Krishna. Samadhamma tapak socham santir arjman, and they have santi. They're very tolerant and they're peaceful and gentle and don't hurt people with words or actions. Samadhamma tapak socham santir arjamam, and they're honest. And jnana and vijnana, they have theoretical knowledge and they have realized knowledge. So these are Brahminical qualities. There are more Brahminical qualities, of course, but these are the main ones. So therefore, when are we going to come to this platform? Because protecting cows, respecting Brahmanas, of course, but above all, preaching. As we heard in 1868 and 69, there's no one more dear to Krishna than the preacher who's helping others become devotees and spending their lifeblood to do that. So if we're ever going to be remembered, like let's say you go to Vaikuntha and Lord Narayana will welcome you there and will say, well, what did you do? Well, I was sleeping very well, and I raised my family, and I went to all the birthday parties and all the weddings and all the funerals, and sometimes I went to the temple and maybe gave a few little donations, and yeah, that's about it. Well, that's not much. There's nothing there that's actually going to catch the eye of Lord Narayana or Krishna. They'll say thank you, but it's not. There's no big enthusiasm. Now let's see what happens when Gopal Krishna Maharaj goes back to Godhead. And Krishna said, well, what did you do? How long of a list do you think he'll be able to give them? Is he going to talk about how much he slept and how many weddings he went to and how many birthday parties and how many funerals he attended? No. He'll start talking about all the preaching he did and all the books that were printed and distributed and all the temples that were opened and all the commemoration of Prabhupada by the government and this thing and how many devotees he was able to inspire and how he's organized things so that it continues to be like that. See? So let's compare what you can say to what he can say. See? So you're not going to get any pluses by sleeping in and going to weddings and funerals and birthday parties. 0. In fact, minus. Those are minus things. They're not positive things. So we have to be very serious about engaging in practical devotional service and especially preaching. Preaching is the essence, right? And purity is the force. And books are the basis. And utility is the principle. should write these 4 points down, understand what they mean, and practice them. So, and then now we see how much important cow protection is in order to protect and grow Brahminical culture, and that will be instrumental to spreading this movement. Because devotees are the best Brahmins in the sense they're always dealing with Krishna. They're always thinking about how to please Krishna. So this is what our focus should be in life. And if we can't make that focus, then what happens is we will fail the Guru's test. Now, what is the Guru's test? Explained in the 4th chapter, 34th verse, and it says, satisfaction of the self-realized spiritual master is the secret of advancement in spiritual life. Inquiries and submission constitute the proper combination for spiritual understanding. So oftentimes at the end of a class, Gopal Krishna Maharaj or any bona fide speaker, they'll say, are there any questions? And usually there is a very loud silence. The silence is louder than speaking. It's because it speaks more than words. It means that people were not really interested in the class, therefore they have no questions to ask. And they're just basically sitting there professionally, but not spiritually. So the whole Vedic knowledge is transmitted by questions and answers. The whole Padma Purana is questions and answers by Parvati to Shiva. The entire Bhagavad Gita is questions and answers by Arjuna questioning Krishna. The entire Srimad Bhagavatam is questions and answers by Parikshit Maharaj and Sutta Goswami to Sukadev Goswami. You see? Questions and answers. But if someone says, well, are there any questions? And there's a loud silence, that means that people weren't really listening. They were not really interested in the class. They were just professionally sitting there because they're supposed to do that, but not because they want to do that. If you want to do that, then you participate in the class by asking pertinent questions. And that's why it says, Pariprasnena sevaya. Pariprasnena, what does that mean? By submissive inquiries, by submissive questions, right? So there's 3 ways you approach the Guru. Pranipat, with submission, and Paripasnena, with questions, serious questions, and Sevaya, by offering service. This is the way you approach Guru. So therefore it says, unless there is submission and service, inquiries from the learned spiritual master will not be effective. One must be able to pass the test of the spiritual master, and when he sees the genuine desire of the disciple, he automatically blesses the disciple with genuine spiritual understanding. In this verse, both blind following and absurd inquiries are condemned. Not only should one hear submissively from the spiritual master, but one must also get a clear understanding from him in submission and service and inquiries. A bona fide spiritual master is by nature very kind toward the disciple. Therefore, when the student is submissive and is always ready to render service, the reciprocation of knowledge and inquiries becomes perfect. So these are the things we should meditate on. And hopefully, we take this seriously, because time is going by very fast. None of us has very long to live. So I would be very, very concerned about what you're going to say when Krishna asks you, so what did you do? And if you say, well, I slept in, I went to birthday parties, I went to marriages, and I went to funerals, and sometimes I went to the temple. That's going to be a disaster. So it's better you start chalking up regulated hearing and chanting and service with a lot of inquiries, questions. Okay, we'll stop right there. Are there any questions? Yes.
Maharaj, could you elaborate more on technology is the utility is the principle?
Yeah, like for example, if you have a choice, should I go to the birthday party or should I come to Janmashtami? Right? So utility should be the principle. Utility means what is most effective or what is most useful for my spiritual life. So am I going to get more benefit spiritually by going to the birthday party, or am I going to get more benefit spiritually by going to the temple for Janmashtami? Okay? So utility, whatever is better for Krishna consciousness. Should I live 50 miles from the temple, or should I only live 2 miles from the temple? Which one is going to be better for me, for my spiritual life? Not better for me, but for my spiritual life. It might cost you more money, but that means there has to be more sacrifice to live so close to the temple. But obviously living closer to the temple is better than living 50 miles away, right? Utility is the principle. Should I donate $5 or $5,000? Well, what would be more beneficial? You see? So it's not what you've saved, it's what you gave that counts, right? If you can say, well, I saved $1 million and then I died. Well, that means you failed. You could have used that $1 million in the service of Krishna while you were living. Now what's going to happen to the $1 million now? Well, somebody will just spend it, right? But not necessarily for Krishna. So utility is the principle. Whatever is better for spiritual life, that's what I should do. Okay, any other questions? All right, thank you very much. I have to go because I have to perform a funeral right now. Hare Krishna. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Thank you, Maharaj.
Hare Krishna. But see, when I go to the funeral, I get a chance to preach. And I have a captive audience.
ठीक है बस हरि बोल Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. बोल कृष्ण चंद्र भगवान की जय। वृंदावन बिहारी लाल की जय, प्रभुपाद महाराज की जय, गुरुदेव महाराज की जय, गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि बोल हरि बोल। Hare Krishna. I have been told to go first, but my offering probably is the worst of the whole lot. Anyway, this is an offering for to Puja Gopal Krishna Goswami on the auspicious occasion of his 77th birthday. The last year has been a mess. Everything has been shut down, and people have been getting sick and dying and stuff like that. Because of this COVID situation, us devotees, we have not seen Maharaj for 2 years plus. Yes. He used to come in June or July every year and stay here for a couple of days and then go over to Vancouver. So if we wanted to, we could go over to Vancouver and see him too. But we haven't seen him for 2 years plus, but there are two ways of associating with Guru Maharaj. You can either associate with him through Vapu, which is personal association, or Vani, which is his words. And since Vapu is not possible, because of the pandemic, devotees need to search out and listen to Guru Maharaj's Vani as much as possible. And some of the disciples, like His Grace Ranti Dev Prabhu or His Grace Radhapati Prabhu, they have been posting a lot of links to Maharaj's lectures, which has been very good, because that way at least we can get to see Maharaj's Vani. Vapu is very dear to disciples because, of course, Maharaj is here, you can serve him, you can put his shoes on him, you can drive him from the airport here, back forth to different programs. There's sort of a spiritual competition between devotees. Maharaj will come in my car, no Maharaj will come in my car, things like that. And of course, everybody gets the same punya by doing either taking the Maharaj or taking his bags or it's things like that. Sometimes when Maharaj would be under the weather, he would always say, "Do you disciples think that I need a doctor's medicine to get better?" He says, "No. All I need is for you guys to become good devotees. Chant your rounds well, and especially listen to the temple authorities." That was, he always emphasized that, listen to temple authorities. Maharaj always told us that we were lucky as we had a wonderful Shiksha Guru in Harivilas Maharaj here. Not all temples have that kind of association and that kind of instruction. Maharaj also said that there are a lot of spiritual masters in ISKCON. And a devotee should not think, a disciple should not think that my spiritual master is better than everybody else. All the spiritual masters should be respected equally. They are all working under Prabhupada's umbrella to get ISKCON going and to keep ISKCON doing well. One thing Maharaj had told me, that since we cannot come to the temple for Mangal Arati every day, we need to perform Mangal Arati at home, at your home. He said, every devotee's house should be like a temple. And whatever you do at the temple, you should do at home. And I've taken his instruction to heart, and I do the Mangal Arati every day at my home. Everything that is done in the temple, from the very beginning to the very end of Mangal Arati, I do at home. One thing Maharaj had said that we can cultivate good habits or bad habits. And if you cultivate good habits, it is good. Everything will be fine. But if you don't cultivate good habits, you will have to cultivate bad habits. You don't have a choice. Because habits form by doing either good or bad. In conclusion, I hope to see Guru Maharaj soon, but if not, I hope the disciples keep on posting the link so at least we can hear his lectures. I don't know where you guys get it from, but it has really helped me. Thank you so much. Hari Bom. I can give you the mic then. You don't have to get it.
Thank you. Hare Krishna. As we gather here to celebrate for Maharaj, our Maharaj Goswami, Krishna Gopal Maharaj, as you know that he is the first Indian disciple of Prabhupada Maharaj. So I have a lot of association with Maharaj, and going from, in India especially, we went so many places for Rath Yatra. Maharaj has been at my house in Kurukshetra at least 2 times, yes, I remember. And Maharaj is always give me Ashirwad, as for everybody. So ईश्वर की कैसी कृपा है कि महाराज सदा हमारे साथ हैं. अभी इंटरनेट पर लास्ट टाइम हमने देखा था कि महाराज की व्यास पूजा, एंड दैट वाज वेरी इम्प्रेसिव. I went with the Maharaj to Sharanagati, in Canada, and so many disciples of us were there, and we stayed 2 nights over there. That was a wonderful place, a wonderful experience. In the morning I woke up before Maharaj, and then I was have a round of that place, and Maharaj was telling me many things about there. So I am very thankful to Seattle devotees, especially this Ranti Prabhu and Radhaji Maharaj, and they are doing very good job. Without them, we cannot assemble and we cannot celebrate Maharaj Vyas Puja. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णा पृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते गोपाल कृष्ण गोस्वामी नामने प्रूपदाय साहित्य में प्रकाशाय प्रचारम कर्तवान साधु भागवत पदायते नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णा पृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी नामने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषा शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे सर्वभूपाद की जय. Since the pandemic, we have more association, Guru Maharaj. Before we just have a once a year associations. Maharaj come once a year in US and Canada. But since pandemic, we have a more association actually. Not physically, but not like Vapu Vani through the Zoom or YouTube. Maharaj have a utsaha is all the times. I know Maharaj since 1998. And Maharaj utsaha is not going down. 77-year-old still is going up and up. Maharaj utsaha start Mangalarti. Maharaj have a very famous, never miss the Mangal Arti and Guru Puja. Guru Puja is, Maharaj never miss the Guru Puja and Mangal Arti. He attend the Mangal Arti or he doing the Mangal Arti. He always try to stay near the temples, wherever he goes. So one time, I think it's 2019, right? Last year he did not come. So 2019, he was in New York. And the New York temple, they don't have any place to stay for Maharaj. So they arranged in the hotel. And hotel was a little far away from temple. So Maharaj said, no, I'm going to stay in the temple. Whatever the facilities you have, I'm just staying there. Because Maharaj want to do Mangal Arati. So Maharaj just skip the hotel and stay in the temple there. And tolerance, Maharaj is tolerate everybody. And there is no limit there, tolerate. Because tolerance is, if there is no tolerance, you cannot stay in the bhakti. It's very hard to stay in the bhakti. Not even bhakti in any place is very hard. It's very difficult. Because Maharaj is like around almost 55 years in ISKCON right now. And it's a big movement, it's not a small. But I think more than 600-700 temples right now. And Maharaj is GBC, is many big temples, like Jew temples, and in Bombay many temples there, and Delhi, Haryana, Punjab, and some Africa, and some US and Canada area. So it's not easy to, this age and the time and so many people dealing with them, and it's very hard. And Maharaj has some ideas, he engaged everybody. The one incident in Bombay, the one is CA, he tried to come in temple he tried to come for get a free prasad. So, and the ISKCON is like that, somehow just you engage, little service or something, they catch you. You cannot go nowhere then. Then what happened, the devotee asked him some donation, building a temple. So asked him, then he said, oh, I want to see first your accounts, where your money going. So, and I want to talk to the leader, who is leader. So they met the president. He said, no, I want to see the GBC. Who is the GBC? And then after a week, Maharaj came in the visit Bombay and talked to the temple authority, talked to Maharaj. And Maharaj said, okay, call him. I'll talk to him. And Maharaj talked to him. Maharaj said, I'm GBC here. I can talk to you. He said, oh, no, I want to see her, I want to meet you. He said, but the Maharaj said, okay, you can come. He said, no, but you want donation, you can come. You come to my house. Maharaj said, okay, what time you will be home? 6:30. Maharaj said, okay, I will be home. The Maharaj already, 6 o'clock, Maharaj went to his house before 6:30. And then Maharaj went, then nearby the devotees, they hear the Maharaj is here, so they come. So 40, 50 devotees there in the house. And he came home, he said, what's going on in my house? So many people there. So then he said, Maharaj is here. Then he talked to Maharaj. Okay, then he said, I want to see your account first. Maharaj said, okay, no problem. We come in the temple then. And then show him account. And the Maharaj told the president, okay, show him accounts and give him all in charge. So he become accountant now. And he just stay in he just involved and after a while he took initiation. So Maharaj is just try to engage everyone. And that's the thing, as soon as you get in the ISKCON and you just little service, that's it. You cannot go nowhere then. Yeah. Just little sincere, if you tolerate. Little bit tolerance is very important. Without tolerance or utsaha is like that. Utsaha is going down or up. If going down, the bhakti go down. But Maharaj utsaha is, I just meditate like it last week all. Utsaha is very important in bhakti. Without utsaha, cannot do anything. Yeah. And other things is, see. Okay, and Maharaj is serving Prabhupada is 100%. Printing books. Just right now, someone told me, some devotee, Maharaj, he opened a big warehouse for the BBT. So many books printing there, and Maharaj going, it's a huge big warehouse. And Maharaj going every year, going many big temples in around India, before the Bhagavad Gita marathon, before Gita Jayanti. So started like a November, October, November. Maharaj going different places and to encouraging them. So distribute. Maharaj Delhi temple mostly the number one in India, and they're distributing many lakhs Bhagavad Gita. They distributing every year. And this today is very auspicious day, and especially on Vaishno is on auspicious day is very merciful. So I'm just asking Maharaj bless us. If you have any material desires and material plan, so please destroy them. We don't. We hope we don't. Bless us. We don't follow any material plans and material desires, which is the problem in the bhakti. Okay. I pray to Radha Nil Madhav on this auspicious day. Maharaj have a good health and a long life, so we can have a more and more Vyasa Puja and more association. And hopefully, pandemic over and Maharaj visit us here in Seattle again. Thank you. Hare Krishna. Okay, next Radhapati and open for everyone.
Hare Krishna. Namam Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimati Gopal Krishna Goswami Namne Prabhupadasya Sahityam Ye Prakasham Vitirichaya Pravachan Kritvana Sadhu Bhagavad Pati Taname Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. महाराज का अपीयरेंस डे 77th अपीयरेंस डे. महाराज जी याद आ रही है आपकी. 2 साल हो गए आपको देखे हुए. दर्शन होते हैं, लाइव दर्शन होते हैं, लेकिन काश ये पैंडेमिक डाई हो जाए क्विक. या तो फिर हमारा या महाराज जी का आना हो और मिलना हो. महाराज जी की 3 क्वालिटीज़, अगर उन क्वालिटीज़ में से हमारे को तो 5% भी मिल जाए ना, तो भी हमारा तो उद्धार पक्का है. टॉलरेंस, ह्यूमिलिटी और पेशेंस. पेशेंस इतना कि अगले को लग जाए कि यार मेरा उन्होंने कुछ किया नहीं. एक डिवोटी जिन्होंने मंदिर के अंदर, दिल्ली मंदिर के अंदर फॉल्ट किया, उनको फॉल्ट करते हुए पकड़ा और पैसे का फॉल्ट करते हुए पकड़ा. महाराज जी ने पूछा क्यों, क्या किया? तो कि अच्छा ज़रूरत थी. तो उन डिवोटी उनको जब प्रभु जी लेके गए तो उनको क्या किया? तो उनको कि अच्छा इनका वेजेस बढ़ा दो और इनको दूसरी सेवा में लगा दो. जबकि सबने एक्सपेक्ट किया कि समथिंग विल हैपन, बट दैट्स नथिंग हैपन. सी, मतलब तरीका ही डिफरेंट है. जैसा रंतीदेव प्रभु ने कहा अंगेज करने का है. हाँ, सबको अंगेज करते हैं. हाँ, बराबर. उसका एग्जाम्पल देता हूँ. पंजाबी बाग में रोहिणी कृष्णा प्रिया प्रभु हैं. रोहिणी कृष्णा प्रभु. तो जैसे शुरुआत में कृष्णा कॉन्शियसनेस होती है, जैसे अटेंड करते हैं, जैसे शुरुआत में, तो उस दिन उनका जन्मदिन था और उनका इनिशिएशन नहीं. वो पहली बार पैंट शर्ट के अंदर टेंपल में आए थे. तो महाराज जी का उस दिन आना हुआ टेंपल के अंदर. तो एक छोटे से मंदिर, छोटे से कमरे के अंदर प्रोग्राम रखा था. तो अब वहाँ महाराज जी के डीटीज़ वगैरह भी थे. अब उसी वक्त महाराज जी को, तो वो सब जने उसी कमरे के अंदर असेंबल थे. अब महाराज जी को जाना था कहीं. तो वो कहे कि यार अब आप सब जने मेरे साथ चल रहे हो, तो यहाँ डीटीज़ का ध्यान कौन रखेगा? मैं डीटीज़ को साथ में नहीं ले जाना चाहता, जहाँ भी जाता हूँ. तब रोहिणी कृष्णा प्रभु उनका तो बर्थडे था. वो तो खाली दर्शन के लिए आए थे, लेकिन ऐसे से रुक गए. अब वो महाराज जी देखे कौन है, कौन तैयार कर सकता है. अब ऐसे जैसे किसका होता है ना, यार नहीं मेरे को नहीं करना, मेरा तो बर्थडे है, मेरा तो ऑलरेडी प्लान है. तो वो अपनी नज़रें नीचे झुका लेता है. नहीं, मेरे को नहीं देख रहे हैं, मेरे को नहीं जाना है. तो वो रोहिणी कृष्णा प्रभु ने भी ऐसे ही किया. अच्छा नहीं, मैं नहीं. और महाराज देखे कोई नहीं है, ये उन्हीं को अंगेज किया. आप हमारे डिटेल्स का ध्यान रखोगे? अब मना भी नहीं कर सके। आज वही रोहिणी कृष्णा प्रिया प्रभु, रोहिणी कृष्णा प्रभु पंजाबी बाग के प्रेसिडेंट हैं और ब्रह्मचारी हैं। कैसा है बात पूरी। खाली जो ये पायस सोल्स होते हैं जिनकी इनकी खाली बात करने में भी कितना, खाली बात कहने में, जैसे हरिविलास महाराज जी का रहना अपन एग्जाम्पल, महाराज जी ने कह दिया कि आज आनंद मेला की ये तारीख तय है या फिर ये जगन्नाथ रथ यात्रा की ये तय है, चाहे कितने ही क्लाउड्स होंगे, सिएटल कितना ही फेमस है रेन के लिए, लेकिन उस दिन मौसम खुल जाएगा, ये पक्की बात है। ऐसा कैसा ही हम महाराज जी की सेवा के अंदर जाते हैं, ओम तत्सत प्रभु बढ़िया गाड़ी फर्स्ट क्लास धनाधन चलाते हैं। एयरपोर्ट पे महाराज जी को लेने के लिए गए, महाराज जी को एयरपोर्ट पे आपको गाड़ी खड़ी नहीं करने देते हैं, बराबर गाड़ी खड़ी नहीं करने देते हैं आपको, यू हैव टू बी देयर, चलते फिरते रहो और गाड़ी के अंदर 1 पर्सन हैज टू बी देयर। लेकिन प्रभु जी गाड़ी को वहाँ पार्क करके अंदर जाके एस्केलेटर के यहाँ खड़े हो गए, महाराज जी आते हैं, माला पहनाते हैं, आते हैं, उनको ले जाते हैं, आधे घंटे का टाइम है और गाड़ी उनकी सुरक्षित पड़ी है वहाँ। बताओ। ये सेवा का भाव, ये सेवा है। और महाराज जी निकलते ही कहते हैं, तो मेरे को रंतिदेव किसके साथ जा रहे हैं? ओम तत्सत के साथ जाना है। उनको पता है कि आज 60 की स्पीड पे 70 की स्पीड में गाड़ी गई। तो महाराज जी का अच्छा आरती का टाइम हो गया, तो जल्दी हाँ, तो टॉलरेंस थोड़ी सी भी हमारे अंदर अगर आ जाए इस तरह के क्वालिटीज, अपना तो उद्धार पक्का है उस हिसाब से। आई नीड इट, डेफिनेटली नीड इट। और एंगेजमेंट, बिजीनेस, आप देखो ऐसे ऐसे एग्जाम्पल्स देखे हैं। सुबह मंगला आरती वृंदावन में, दिन का प्रसादम दिल्ली में और रात की क्लास मुंबई में। ऐसे दिन का स्केड्यूल रहे हैं। वहाँ देखा है, वैंकूवर में देखा है, परम करुणा प्रभु और विष्णु प्रिया प्रभु, वो जब सेवा में रहते थे तो वो तो 1 बाय 1 करके चांस लेते थे कि यार पूरे दिन थक जाएंगे, अच्छा तुम्हारा नंबर, अच्छा तुम्हारा नंबर। लेकिन उनके आगे महाराज जी, ही इज कॉन्स्टेंटली रनिंग फॉर द एंटायर डे। या सर, हरे कृष्णा महाराज जी, बस हम पे ब्लेसिंग्स रखें और प्लीज कम, वी आर वेटिंग फॉर यू। हरे कृष्णा।
हरे कृष्णा। नमो विष्णुपदाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमती गोपाल कृष्ण गोस्वामी इति नामिने। नमो विष्णुपदाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमती भक्तिवेदांत स्वामी इति नामिने। नमस्ते सरस्वती देवी गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे। My earliest memories of His Holiness Gopal Krishna Goswami Maharaj were from my early days in Krishna consciousness. I was introduced in Ahmedabad in 1998, just after I had completed my 11th grade. By the mercy of devotees, some devotees came for book distribution, and I started visiting the temple. And Gopal Krishna Goswami Maharaj is the GBC in Ahmedabad as well. So I have early memories from my beginning days. At the time, the temple president was His Grace Yashomati Nandan Prabhu, Prabhupada disciple, who passed away last year due to COVID. But as he was advancing in age, he was training the next generation. So at the same time that I joined, we had Vishnu Nam Prabhu, who is Gopal Krishna Goswami Maharaj's disciple, is now the temple president. He was training under Yasomati Nandan Prabhu at that time. So I've been very fortunate to have association of Maharaj whenever he visited, and the disciples were there all the time. I would like to glorify Maharaj for some of his qualities that I can recall. As we know, Maharaj dedicated his life to Srila Prabhupada. He at an early age in America, while he was here, Maharaj, Srila Prabhupada ordered him to take sannyas, and that was, he did not give it a second thought, and there was no looking back. And he has done tremendous service to the mission of Srila Prabhupada, as we can see. Just in Delhi area, there are about more than 12 or 14 temples now, and wherever Maharaj goes and visits, we can see the book distribution scores. They just go up the sky, right? As Prabhuji was mentioning, in India, like every time for marathon, we see Delhi temples, they are the highest book distribution scores. And just like, when you have graphs, right, in Excel, or you build, and you make, if the numbers are too big, right, you just make the units as thousands or millions, right? Similarly, when you talk about book distribution in Delhi, you don't talk about thousand, it's lakhs, right? It's a huge number that it's tens of thousands, right? So that is there. And being there, Maharaj has done a tremendous job of, engaging various political personalities who have been now supporting the movements under his influence. We see Narendra Modi, and other various politicians, they are cultivated so nicely, they have direct connection to the PMO office, right? We see devotees visiting the PMO office every now and then, and all the other wonderful activities, like during COVID, under the guidance of Maharaj, the prasadam distribution, right, that was going on nicely, that was also very recognized. So in this way, we can see Maharaj has, really cultivated all the different stratums of the society, right? As some of the examples that we heard, some of the newcomers, right, who just walking in the temple, and we see Maharaj engaging them in service. Like you would think a CA who is demanding that, show me the accounts, most people would ignore them, but Maharaj personally visited him, and in this way he cultivated. So right from those who are just visitors, first time visitors, right, so that at that level, all the way up to the most important personalities, right, politicians. So he's engaging everyone across the entire stratum of the society. Also his contributions, he being a GBC in Russia, he always being a communist country, there are so many challenges. So the land over there is disputed for a long time, right? But we see, Maharaj over a period of time, he's always been engaging and inspiring the devotees despite of all the challenges. And now they have a very beautiful temple in Moscow, right, the capital of Russia. And so in this way, there are many examples of the tremendous service Maharaj has done in the mission of Srila Prabhupada. Of course, we had also the good fortune of having his association over here. It was 2019. So it's been a while, but we wish to have Maharaj's association in person as soon as possible. That's what we desire. And on this occasion of his 77th Vyasa Puja, we pray that he be engaged in the service of Srila Prabhupada for many more decades to come. May Krishna bless him with good health, and he continues to engage and inspire everyone who come in his contact. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. pristaya bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Ashatya Deshatharine Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Chaitanya Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare. Radha Nila Madhav Radha Nila Madhav Radhe Jaya Narasimha Jaya Lakshmi Narasimha Jaya Lakshmi Narasimha Jaya Lakshmi Narasimha Jaya Sita Ram Jaya Lakshmana Hanuman Sita Ram Jaya Lakshmana Hanuman Jaya Gauranitai 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 Jaya Gauranitai Jaya Prabhupada Prabhupada Jagadguru Srila Prabhupada
नमो विष्णुपाद परमहंस प्रवक्ताचार्य स्कोन फाउंडाचार्य कृष्ण कृपा मूर्ति चरणारविंद ए श्री भक्ति वेदांत श्री प्रभुपाद महाराज की जय अनंत कोटि वैष्णवविंद की जय नामाचार्य श्री हरिदास ठाकुर की जय प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद की जय श्री कृष्णचंद्र भगवान की जय श्री रामचंद्र भगवान की जय गंगा माई यमुना माई की जय तुलसी देवी भक्ति देवी की जय श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड श्री गोवर्धन की जय गोप गोपीनाथ की जय श्री धाम श्री वृंदावन धाम की जय अयोध्या धाम की जय मायापुर धाम की जय जगन्नाथपुरी धाम की जय धर्म क्षेत्र कुरुक्षेत्र ज्योतिषा तीर्थ धाम की जय संवेद भक्तविंद की जय योग धर्म नाम संकीर्तन की जय गौर निताई की जय गौर प्रेमानंदे हरे ऑल ग्लोरी टू सबल डिवोटीज हरे कृष्ण ऑल ग्लोरी टू सबल डिवोटीज हरे कृष्ण ऑल ग्लोरी टू सबल डिवोटीज हरे जय श्री गौर गंगा श्री प्रभुपाद महाराज की जय नमो विष्णु पदाय कृष्ण विष्णु श्रीमते भक्ति
So we continue now Maharaj glorification, and then we're doing Guru Puja and Puspanjali and Prasadam, right?
Hare Krishna. Thank you for joining. Today we are celebrating the appearance day of His Holiness Gopal Krishna Maharaj. I think it was last week, right? Actual birthday? Yes. Okay, we are celebrating today. Last Thursday. Yeah. Yeah. So those who come to this temple knew Maharaj comes generally in the July 1st week. And then he goes to Vancouver. Though he stays very little, but he touches many people. How does it possible? Because he doesn't spend too much time on lectures or anything, but he makes one-on-one connection. He sees you, he remembers you, right? You thought you may not remember, but he say, hey, I know you, I've seen you, right? And then it becomes a personal connection, personal talk. So those few minutes he talks to you, which actually makes lasting impression, especially when it comes from a pure devotee. Like we had examples how somebody who thought just come and take a darshan became temple devotees and become temple presidents. So that is the power of the blessing or the words of a pure devotee. And Maharaj basically is personal touch. That's what it is. Though we talk about tolerance, humility, all these things you see only when the person is actually in front of you and behaving and you have the personal experience. And that doesn't matter. You don't need to read 10,000 books after that. That 1 minute of association is very important. And for me, like when I was coming to this temple, so far I had not gone to with any Maharaj, any yatra or anything because of our kids' studies and timing, nothing never worked out. But only Maharaj where I spent 1 week is His Holiness Gopal Krishna Maharaj. He is in the very beginning when I was new here, there are many Maharajas, Indradanda Maharaj, Gopal Swami Maharaj, and Gopal Krishna Maharaj, Navyogendra Swami. There are so many Maharajas used to come here. So we used to get association. So we were thinking, who is our Maharaj? This is our question, right? We become a little serious. But the Maharaj who we actually spoke to this for the first time about this is Gopal Krishna Maharaj in Vancouver. I was there. I was in between the jobs. Maharaj invited me. You're starting a job a week later. What do you do? Come with me. Just like that. He doesn't know me, right? But he asked for, come with me. Okay, Maharaj. So I traveled with him. So 1 week I was in Vancouver temple, in the guest house, not guest house, Anant Hari Prabhu's grandma home. And then Maharaj every day, morning, evening and afternoon used to ask Anant Hari and others, are you taking care of him? Are you taking care of him? This is sad, nothing else. Are you taking care of him? That's it. No lecture, no Krishna consciousness, Krishna the Supreme Personality, Godhead, no. Right? This is the only thing he used to ask. And Maharaj's schedule is very tight, morning to evening. He gives a Mangalarti program, lecture, and then goes for a walk. Then he goes to a devotee's home, visits in Vancouver. So you go with Maharaj, and even there Maharaj asks, have you taken care of him? Right? This is the only thing, 7 days, this is what pattern. So we felt very happy. I was the one who went. My wife at that time didn't come. So that is the personal connection Maharaj has. And that is what we also should just take it forward. Right? Now, of course, due to COVID, we are not seeing each other. But when you get to see the devotees, feel happy. Make a personal connection. Right? And that is what, even make a personal connection to everyone who comes to the temple, like that. If you just have to say some few words, right? Through your behavior, through your this thing, Krishna will automatically deliver through your Guru's mercy. So, as I said, I asked Maharaj about this initiation. He gave me an advice. And then, probably, we were not serious yet, but Maharaj said, don't rush into it, but don't delay it too much. Take initiation. So within 1 year, we were able to find our Guru Maharaj, His Holiness Gopal Swami Maharaj, and we took initiation from him. So again, that's the power of Vani. Right? So we miss him, but he's through his actions, which we already have some experiences. So we really pray to Sri Radhanil Madhav to have Maharaj's darshan here again. And as Radhapati Prabhu prayed, let the COVID go. Right? But even if Maharaj comes, COVID goes. So let's pray, right? To Sri Radhanil Madhav, that we get the association of His Holiness Gopal Krishna Maharaj again, and we continue and make our sadhana stronger. Hare Krishna.
Okay, next is any Mataji and Prabhus. No Mataji? Okay, so we're going to do the Guru Puja now. Hare Krishna. Vyasa Puja Mahotsav ki Jai.
Shri Guru Charana Padma Kevala Bhakati Sadma Shri Guru Charana Padma Kevala Bhakati Sadma
Please let us.
Bando moi sabadana mate Bando moi sabadana mate Jahara prasade bhae bhavatoriya yai Krishna prapti hoya hoite Krishna prapti hoya hoite Guru mukha padma vakya chitte te aikya Arana kori hamane asha Arana kori hamane asha Shri Guru Charane Rati Se Uttama Gati Je prasad pure sarva asha Je prasad pure sarva asha चक्षुदान दिलो जय जन्मे जन्मे प्रभु से चक्षुदान दिलो जय जन्मे जन्मे प्रभु से दिव्य ज्ञान हृदय प्रकाशित दिव्य ज्ञान हृदय प्रकाशित प्रेम भक्ति जहाँ होते अविद्या विनाशायते प्रेम भक्ति जहाँ होते अविद्या विनाशायते Vede gai jahara charito Vede gai jahara charito Shri Guru Karuna Sindhu Adama Janara Bandhu Shri Guru Karuna Sindhu Adama Janara Bandhu Lokanath Lokera Jivana Lokanath Lokera Jivana Aha Prabhu Karo Daya Deho More Padachaya Prabhupada Karo Daya Deho More Padachaya Ebeyaj Guchuk Tribhuvana Dui Pad Loi Locharana Srila Prabhupada Patita Pavana Prabhupada, 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 Jayo Jayo Prabhupada. Jayo Jayo Gurudev, 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 Jayo Jayo Gurudev. Swami iti namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvichesha Shunyavati Paschata Deshatarine Jayo Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Jayo Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Gopal Krishna Goswami, Gopal Krishna Goswami, Gopal Krishna Goswami, Jai Gopal Krishna Goswami. Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada. Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur, Hari Bol. Jayam Vishnupad, Paramhans Parivajikacharya, Srodasat Sri Srimad, His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Jayam Vishnupad, Paramhans Parivajikacharya, Srodasat Sri Srimad, His Divine Grace, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, Goswami Maharaj, Prabhupada Ki Jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnavin Ki Jai. Namacharya Srila Hardas Thakur Ki Jai. Prem se kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda, Jai Dvaita Gadadhar, Sivasadi Gaur Bhaktavin Ki Jai. Shri Shri Radha Nila Madhava Gop Gopinath, Shyamkund Radha Kund Giri Govardhan Ki Jai. वृंदावन धाम की जय, मथुरापुरी धाम की जय, नवदीप धाम की जय, मायापुर धाम की जय, द्वारका धाम की जय, जगन्नाथपुरी धाम की जय, गंगा मई की जय, जमुना मई की जय, तुलसी देवी की जय, भक्ति देवी की जय, सामवेद भक्तवृंद की जय, ISKCON founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Srila Gopal Krishna Goswami Maharaji's appearance day ki jai, Gaur Premanande Hari. All glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to Shri Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga, Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Hare Krishna. We'll open the altar in 10 minutes after the Pushpanjali. So those who come to take darshan, please wait. We'll be done. Hare Krishna.
Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prashtaya Bhutale Srimate Gopal Krishna Goswami Iti Namne Prabhupadaya Se Sahitam Ya Prakasaya Vitryacha Parcharam Kartvan Sadhu Bhagavat Padayate Nama Om Ajnana Timrandasya Jnananjana Salakaya Chakshurumlitam Yena Tasme Sri Guruve Namah Sri Chaitanya Manobishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swame Rupa Kadamayam ददाति स पदान्तिकं वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरु श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवं च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगणा रघुनाथं वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं साद्भूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगणललिता श्रीविशाखावितंश्च नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिन् इति नाम्ने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती नामने श्री वर्षभान्वी देवी दायते कृपा दे कृष्णा संबंध विज्ञान दाहिने पर्ववे नमः माधुर्य उज्ज्वला प्रेमादा श्री रूपानुगा भक्तिदा श्री गौर करुणा शक्ति विग्रहाय नमस्तुते नमस्ते गौरवाणी श्री मूर्ताय दीनतारिणे रूपानुगा विरुद्धापा अपसिद्धांतदवंतहारिणे नमो गौर किशोराय साक्षात वैराग्य मूर्ते विपरलंबा रसंबोधे पादांभोजायते नमः नमो भक्ति विनोदाय सच्चिदानंद नामने घोर शक्ति स्वरूपाय रूपानुगावरायते गौर आविर्भाव भूमेस्त्वं निर्देशता सजना प्रिया वैष्णव सर्वभौमा श्री जगन्नाथाय ते नमः वाञ्छा कल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्यः च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः नमो महावदन्नाय कृष्णा प्रेम प्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्ण चैतन्य नामने गौरतवीशे नमः पंचतत्वाकं कृष्णं भक्ता रूप स्वरूपकं भक्ता अवतारं भक्ताख्यं नमामि भक्त सात्विकम्। हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधो दीनबंधो जगतपते गोपेशा गोपिका कांता राधा कांता नमस्तुते जायतम सूरतो पंगोर माम मंदा मतेर्गति मत सर्वस्व पादां भोजो राधा मदन मोहनो दिव्याद वृंदारण्य कल्पाद्रुमदा श्रीमद रत्नागारा सिंहासनस्थो श्रीमद राधा श्रीला गोविंद देवो तस्लाभि स्वमानु समरामि श्रीमान रासरसारंभी वामसीवत् ततस्थिता कृष्ण वेणु सवनेर गोपीर गोपीनाथ सरयस्तो न तप्त कंचन गौरंगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वर्षभानु सुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैता गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंदा। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। नमः ओम विष्णुपादाय कृष्णा पृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते गोपाल कृष्ण स्वामी इति नामने प्रभुपदाय से साहित्यम या प्रकाशाय वितराय च प्रचारम कृतवान् साधु भागवत पदाय ते नमः। ऐसो पुष्पांजलि स्वाहा। कृष्णा कृष्णा हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा कृष्णा हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम राम राम। नमः ओम विष्णुपादाय कृष्णा पृष्ठाय भूतले गोपाल कृष्णा गोस्वामी इति नामने प्रभुपदाय से साहित्यम या प्रकाशाय वितराय च प्रचारम कृतवान् साधु भागवत पदाय ते नमः। ऐसो पुष्पांजलि स्वाहा। हरे राम राम हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। नमः ओम विष्णुपादाय कृष्णा पृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते गोपाल कृष्ण गोस्वामी इति नाम्ने रूपदाय से साहित्यम या प्रकाशाय वित्रिया च प्रचारम कर्तवान् साधु भागवत पदाय ते नमः। ऐसा पुष्पांजलि स्वाहा। हरे कृष्णा हरे His Holiness Gopal Krishna Maharaj की जय, व्यास पूजा महोत्सव की जय, श्रीला प्रभुपाद की जय। Okay,